Welcome back to movementprofessional.com. So this is a closed chain mobility for the overhead position along with the hip hinge. So this is called the Bar Overhead Hinge Freestyle because we're basically going to put the arms overhead, put the body into a hip hinge position, and then we're just going to kind of freestyle or get creative from there. So we can do arms overhead. You basically take a hinge so your head is a little bit below your arms, and then we can start with the feet together and then go to a wide stance. And then once we're in the stance and we get that fixed down, we can start moving the pelvis and the scapula and the spine into flexion, extension, or a posterior pelvic tilt, anterior pelvic tilt, and then have the subsequent scapular motions to couple with the pelvic motion. So if we go into a posterior tilt, we're going to tend to go into protraction of the scapulas, and an anterior tilt will couple with retraction. All right, then we can do this with the feet together and bend the knees a little bit, which allows us to get a little bit more of a posterior weight shift, meaning that the hips are going to be backwards past the heels a little bit more. All right, we want to try to keep a nice straight spine unless we're purposely trying to create flexion and extension, and just kind of exploring what happens in the scapulas when we do that, and the shoulder blades and upper back, and then vice versa when we try to go into extension. All right, so we can do this with two hands on the bar, with, again, narrow stance, wide stance, and then what you see I'm doing here is I'm shifting my hips, so I'm bringing one knee forward, one knee back, and what that does is it creates a closed chain extension and flexion, and actually like a triplanar motion of the hip. So I get a extension with adduction and internal rotation, and then flexion and external rotation with abduction on the opposite side. And then I can turn my feet, so I'm doing more of a perpendicular stretch into the hinge, which is a nice little side stretch for the body, but also exploring what that does for the overhead position and where I'm feeling the stretch. All right, I can take my hand away, just so I'm putting only the one hand on there for support, and just giving me more of a stretch on that side. And then I can do the same thing on the opposite side and just explore what that stretch feels like on that side. All right, always trying to keep a good hinge position though, so that there is a sense of reaching the buttocks away from the hands and feeling like I'm actually trying to, in some ways, pull the stall bars off the wall. All right, so you're trying to create a nice long body. You might get a little bit of compression, as you can see it on the right side of my body there. The idea is to try to reach the left hip away so that it minimizes the side bending on that side of the body. The nice thing about holding onto the bars, it gives you a little sense of creating a traction force with your body. It creates a traction in the shoulder, traction in the spine. All right, and then you can get at some of these funky angles that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get to because there would be too much compression in the body. All right, so then we're back to straight here, going through a few more flexion movements, and then we're kind of just coming right out of the position. So that's the Bar Overhead Hinge, and that's a form of closed chain mobility. If you have any questions, you can go to movementprofessional.com. I'll see you next time.